Howdy, all you delicious people. I'm here today to review Crown Jewel from Perth 2025. The reason why I had not gone on and actually went around when this thing was to actually be aired was simply because I was working out during that time period, and also I was going to sleep right after that. So logically, I could not have been really in my brain noggin have the real givish to really think that this is going to be anything of real worthwhile. But once after watching this PLE, there is one match, a one whole match out of five that was actually to go on and be something worth to see. And bizarrely, it was another rematch. Wow! Because this PLE either has rematches or just stuff that we have seen too often or just stuff that we really didn't need to see. But also, we have to go on and have champion versus champion bullshit that just gives a person a belt that they're only going to see them wear once and a ring that they're probably never really going to see them really actually wear. And we're going to completely forget about it, and that's going to be our existence of what is to be just another PLE. So, it's just the truth. It's my brutal honesty. If I can't be honest, then I won't be able to sleep at night. So, not only do we have to go on and realize that there is not enough matches on this card, they have to slather this PLE with a Rhea Ripley promo. That's probably going to be longer than either her matchup or probably longer than what time she has in her ring. Either way, I'm not to be sure because I'm not a mathematician of how long that promo was and how long Rhea Ripley was in the ring for. Not quite sure. But logically, we have Rhea Ripley that is to be shown here because she is an Aussie, and I'm like, man, great, cool. Why should I care? These matches are just meh, except for one out of five. Anyways, so let's go whatever way to mention the big old success of what is to be this PLE, which is to be a rematch, bizarrely, between John Cena and AJ Styles. A match that goes on and seemingly has the kitchen sink of moves, and also is to really just be something that will probably have to be dubbed match of the year because there's nothing of a slurp of a close of anything that would really have a good enough rival to what this match ended up becoming. It was delicious. Also, there were in the very beginning of this PLE to have the Perth people get me really behind them and just be like, yeah, Perth, give me some of that Perth. And especially during that Roman and Reed match, I was like, yeah, I echo your exact sentiments of gimme John Cena's and read the sign that says stop. But then there were some other matches where I was just looking at them and they were saying this is awesome. Like, I don't know about that. But if anything, once we got to the Cena and AJ Styles match, I was like, I'm behind you, Perth. Yeah, woo, delish. But then also, there was just a lot of matches where I was just like, why am I spending my effing time watching this bullshit? Like, Paul Walter Hauser goes on and is to complain that 5 matches with ESPN is just bullshit, and I echo that same sentiment. Logically, this does not make sense anymore. You just slather this thing with advertising and a lot of that I just skip because I don't watch this live. I couldn't be bothered to watch it live. And also, there's a lot of times where I can just kind of skip the entrances because the entrances aren't really that cool anymore. They're not unique anymore. And also, you logically will actually have a Titantron thing in the background that actually looks quasi interesting than all the other bullshit that you do in a lot of these PLEs. Thank you for at least that kind of goddamn effort. Because I appreciate it. Anyways, but give me some of that perf. So, I'm just going to randomly throw that in at any point in time just because it's weird. Anyways, so let's go into what ends up being this PLE. Thank you for going on and spending the time watching this because I get that this PLE is to probably not be worth a lot of people's time. But thank you anyways. So let's get into the deep dish action of Roman versus Reed, a match that clearly we've seen way too effing often at this point, and a street fight does not give any addition to giving us an F of care of this bullshit that we just have to just keep seeing consistently in these PLEs. And also, Roman is to go on to no longer be a main eventer. He's the guy that just opens the show. Man, does that suck for him, I'm sure. Wow, how much this guy's value has just dragged down. But regardless, I'm sure he gets paid well anyways. It's true. But anyways, so Roman versus Reed, that delicious Reed of a man. I watched him do a workout with Sheamus and I was like, yeah, Reed. But then again, also, I didn't really care for his match. I really didn't. I like me some Bronson Reed, but I just don't care what he's doing. I really don't. This man could just be a freaking holding a title and I would justify, yeah, he deserves that. But just logically, I just don't want to see him wrestle Roman anymore. It's getting boring at this point. And regardless, whatever bells and whistles they can throw into, it's not going to give me a. It's not. So, anyways, the Roman and Reed matchup, we come to find that this is a street fight because Roman is a street fighter. Is Cody going to go on and have his own little street fight match because he was in a street fight movie? I'm curious. I hope so. I don't really care. So, we have in this Roman matchup, Roman giving the Samoan drop on a chair because he didn't give a Samoan drop on that other matchup because he tried it, but then he's like, oh, my back. Oh, yeah, I can't do it. Because, again, this was the other PLE that everybody was struggling to do anything, and logically, I can understand that struggle of that move of doing it. So, we go on to have Roman that is to be bringing crickets and rugby balls, them delicious balls, into the matchup. At one point, Roman tries to throw a rugby ball to Heyman, and it just hits the ropes and just kapring, it just flings off. Kind of a botch of the whole PLE. But then again, we also have Io Sky that struggled later on to get into the ring, and I'm like, oh man, Io. For how she does all the heavy lifting, she had that one botch. God dang it, Io. Believe me, Io, I like Io. I'm not trying to make fun of her. I'm just saying that happened. But if any, god dang, did Io look like freaking amazing in this matchup. I don't know why. But I was like, give me some of that Io. But anyways, so, but we'll get to that eventually. So, Roman and Reed. Really, there is not a whole lot going on here. We have Roman that goes on and he is to ask the crowd if they want tables, and if they do, to acknowledge him. I wasn't really interested in acknowledging him, but I was like, hey, I'm watching this, so I guess that's as close as I will to be in acknowledging you. So, I won't give you one of these, buddy. Acknowledge me. No. Anyways, so Roman takes the time to get the table out of the ring. Reed takes the time to put the table back into the ring. What a stupid waste of time that was. But then eventually, we realize that this match is getting more and more boring to the point to where people are going on and desperately asking for this match to stop and read the stop sign, and people are calling out for John Cena. So we have the interruption of Braun Breaker, so that way at least this could go on and be a much more exciting matchup. Braun comes in and spears Roman because he's a guy that spears things, and then all of a sudden we end up getting the call-in of the Usos. The Usos! The Yeet Man! The guy that goes on and has the people doing a lot of this that I go on and see consistently. But so, they don't come from the crowd this time around. They end up coming from the ramp, which I was so disappointed in. They should have came from the crowd, obviously. That's what that song was made for. But so once we get more and more people into this matchup, things get ever more confusing of what the heck is going on. We have the Usos that come in and they super kick anybody or everybody, maybe somebody. We also had the one spot where Roman was trying to go on and throw the rugby ball at Heyman, and that was a botch because it just hit the freaking rope and just flinged off. That was just a blunder, a little delicious blunder that was going like, give me some of that. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. So, but back to the Usies, the Juicy Usies. We have them go on and they're super kicking everybody, and I'm like, okay, I guess this just has to be the fun uh thing that we're gonna have to go on and just see here that the Usos and are going against the Vision, which I still hate that name. But anyways, uh we have within the matchup where Jey Usi is to end up accidentally spearing Roman through a table. Some miscommunication going on, mistakes are to happen this day. So now I have to go on and explain something. For those of you that are to be unaware of the things that I usually go on and do within these PLEs, when I go on and I wave my hand up and down like this is when I get into spoilers of every single one of these matches. And then when I go on and when I announce the winner of said match, I will go on and then after I'm kind of finished talking about the winner thing, I will go on and do this and then move on to the next matchup. So if you don't want to get spoiled, if you don't want to go on and want to know what happened because you're still going on and watching this PLE somewhere down the week or road or whatever, because really this PLE will not really care to you, or maybe you'll watch Raw to see if it is important, and then you'll go on and check out that Crown Julie. But anyways, that Crown Julie. So let me go on and do the spoilers of this matchup and wave my hand up and down. Spoilers, everybody. So what ends up happening here is we unfortunately have Reed that is to end up going on and winning this matchup. Logically, we don't really have Reed that goes on and does a tsunami to Roman in this entire matchup. Instead, he goes on and he performs a tsunami to one of the Usos. And there was that really interesting time where Reed takes the chair and slams it consistently into Roman's ribs, which I really liked. As far as something interesting going on in this matchup, to just do something different. But everything else was really just pretty, just like, okay, like, when is this going to be over? I want to see what other matches are going on here because I've just I've seen Roman and Reed just Ronson Romson just too often. I'm sorry, but if anything, yeah, Roman loses. Roman afterwards goes on and tells his Usi brothers, brethren, that he will go on and to not want any dealings with them up until Christmas time. So more than likely, that might probably be the next time we'll actually see Roman. Otherwise, uh, we have some dissension in the OG bloodline. Uh, we have Roman that is to go on and tell his bloodline is like, hey, I don't want to see you anymore. And also he leaves. Then Jay is like, yeah, I don't want anything to do with this bloodline either. And then he leaves, and then Jimmy's just left in the ring, just going like, hey, my wife is pregnant. I need to pay some bills, buddy. No, I'm just kidding. But man, shouldn't you have gone on to really logically have said that? Plus, also, shouldn't this have geared up for really just a 6-man at this point with Seth, Breaker, and Reed or Brock? Reed and Breaker and the Bloodline, that would have been really interesting of a matchup. And at least would still play on the fact that maybe Brock is still working along with the Vision, but whatever. It would have actually given us something more interesting than what this ended up being, at least. But logically, this match was trash. Moving on. Let's go on and let's talk about the first title versus title matchup between Tiffy and Stephanie. You know what? I like Stephanie. Don't get me wrong what I'm going to say here, but I have to be honest about her. She has no effing moveset that is to get my freaking attention whatsoever. Within this matchup, she was giving me like arm bars and the most common bullshit. Then I'm like, this wrestler is so boring in a PLE that is to go on and be boring altogether, with the exception of one match. And so she is like the worst thing of a boring PLE, which is sad because God, do I want to like her so much, but there is just no flair in her entire arsenal. I was to go on and only really give a about whatever Tiffany was doing, which was mostly just moonsaults, and that's about it. This match was just so boring compared to the very first matchup. And I am to just go on and just be like, this is just a throwaway thing of a match just to get this effing over with. Because the two of these people together just did not work whatsoever. Really, it's to go on and see the weakness of both wrestlers. And like, but man, like Stephanie going on and giving us this speech afterwards was very heartfelt and was very emotional. But again, it's also kind of one of those like normal baby face speeches that I've heard like 100 times, even though it's still, yeah, everything that she said meant a lot, and everything that she has to go on and say would probably be logically a thing that I would say the same thing. But yeah, but it's just that, like, following up a match that is to just give us something that was just like, this was so skippable. So let's go into the John Cena AJ Styles match. So we have AJ Styles in some kind of weird uh, garment that seems to have a lot of people say that it's to be iconic for some reason. I think they're lying. Because I've never seen this gear in a WWE ring that AJ has worn. So I think that honestly, everyone is lying that this is to be some kind of iconic gear. No. Uh, Obviously, AJ Styles' gear is to echo his time in TNA. Realizing that, of course, AJ Styles had recently gone to TNA for one of their pay per views. I don't remember which exactly when it was called because I don't really care. I don't really follow TNA that viciously, but I do know at least that happened. Was it Grand Slam? Was it it's something like it was some kind of big WrestleMania thing for them, I think, at some point. But anyways, I don't know. But so AJ Styles is going on and wearing some iconic TNA gear, and then we of course have John Cena who comes fruity pebbles down the ring. With no kind of entrance that is to go on and really just give us any uniqueness or anything. He's just there, and he has to go on and grab the camera. I'm like, hey, look at the people out there. Yeah, I'm sure it was fun for him. But anyways, so John Cena and AJ Styles come to the ring, and like this rivalry was to always go on and be the thing to watch once AJ Styles came to WWE. I remember so well AJ Styles going on and taking John Cena's headband or armband, and he was putting on it on his head. It's like, and it had the never give up thing. It was the orange and blue thing, and that was right around the time that Styles was wearing the um, if not P1, we don't want one blue shirt and whatever. And so like I remember that rivalry very well. It was really fun to watch those matches. Even though honestly, the John Cena versus AJ Styles matches, like a lot of AJ Styles would go on and do, would go to the top rope and be like, "Yeah, look at me!" And it's like, God, that is so stupid that they did that whole stretch of just AJ Styles going up to the top rope and like, like I'm just like, come on, like get to the matchup. Um, but so I was kind of like I was kind of getting worried that they were going to go right back to that or do a callback to that where AJ Styles and John Cena would go to the top ropes and be like, look at me. Like I was expecting that, but anyways. So instead we actually get a match that kind of gives us like classic moves of the lockups and the uh, the rope to ropes, and then we finally go on and get to the actual more interesting things. Most of this match has a lot more submission moves that I found to be really fun to watch. Like we go on and we get to, of course, the SBFs or the STFs, but then also we get into the cross faces. We get to eventually seeing the figure four happened in the Seth versus Cody match, so there is no figure four here. But anyways, uh, they gave us the camel clutch, which of course they said Rusev, yeah, Rusev Day. The crowd was chanting. Uh, we would go on to end up getting the Scorpion Drop, I believe. That was like the verse DDT that AJ Styles did, and it's like, well, yeah, like the classic shades of Sting. We also had John Cena that was to give us the Walls of Jericho. So they actually referenced the Walls of Jericho, and instead of saying the Lion Tamer or some other bullshit thing that they had to, it was instead of saying that it was the Edge Spear, oh, it's the Roman Spear. No, it was the Edge Spear. Come on. AJ goes on and does the Sweet Chin music, which again was pretty awesome. They at one point teased that John was going to do a pedigree, but he doesn't do that. We also go on and have at certain points where John Cena is doing certain bits of Randy Orton's moves, which was kind of cool to go on and see here. Because it's like, yeah, like of course Cena's gonna go on and do some Orton stuff because that's gonna be fun. He goes on and he almost attempts to do the punt kick, uh, but John goes on and does the rope move where he kind of slams the person down on the ground, which is to be, of course, Orton's move. They said that it was classic John Cena. No, that's Orton's move. Uh, he does the RKO out of nowhere. There's just endless amount of moves that they put into this whole thing, and I'm sure I'm going to miss a lot of them. I think they were going to do like the test of strength, but that just turns into John Cena going on and throwing AJ over his shoulder to almost do the AA, and then they backed out of it. Uh, there is just a lot of interesting moves going on here that I did really go on and find to be fascinating, but also there's so much here that I'm sure I probably had forgotten what all happened within this entire match. But this is a lot of fun. This was to be one of those things that the rest of this freaking sucked except this. So if you have not gone on and seen this matchup yet, you need to. It's so good. It's so enjoyable. And it's a lot of fun. So spoilers to everybody. Spoilers. Joan Shayna had gone on to win this matchup, and I was kind of expecting AJ honestly to win this matchup because, in my opinion, like both of these guys are kind of their contracts are kind of running out at some point. They keep saying that AJ's contract is up by 2026. John Cena only has four matches, so what does he really need to win right now? Um, But yeah, but he won this matchup anyways. And he went on to do like a number of moves and then um, go on uh, to win the matchup. It was cool that they end up doing the calf crusher. They teased on it and then they actually did it in the thing because it's like, well, hey, AJ Styles also has a submission. Um, it was interesting that they did go to the Styles clashes at certain points, and at least John didn't go on and do AJ Style Clash because he did do it, of course, in the other matchup that he did. But yeah, this was wonderful. I really liked it. And then, of course, John goes to his wife and kisses her and then leaves. Goes on and he does the 3D. It's still kind of funny how the Usos go on and they do the 3D, but it's called the 1D. It's the 3D, in my opinion. But regardless, with that said, let's move on to then the tag match because it's the only one really left besides the main event. I honestly hate going on and doing this, but I have to be honest. This tag match was very sloppy, in my opinion, regardless of the EO Sky botch, which I have to go on and mention. uh, sorry, EO. I'm sorry, but if I have to go on and I have to mention how like certain things were messed up in other women's matches, I have to be fair. So we would of course go on and have this tag team matchup that is to have Io Sky doing the heavy amount of lifting because Io Sky does heavy lifting in every single one of her matches. How she's not a champion right now does not make sense because in all honesty, she does more than everyone else. It's stupid how she doesn't have a championship right now, but she doesn't. But anyways, she deserves it so much more so than any of these other people do. You know what? I was honestly so interested in this because Asuka would go on and be in the ring with Rhea or Io, and nothing about those interactions were worth my time, and I was so disappointed about that. Where I was like, okay, cool, I can see Asuka with these people, and like everything was just so sloppily done that I'm like, I just have to just throw my hands up and just be like, well, this could be a thing that I could have tried to be interested in, but it just sucked the life out of me of real true interest. We have the build to Ripley getting in the ring, and then when she does get in the ring, she's just kind of just doing a couple moves and then tagging out, and then Io comes back in the ring and does more heavy lifting. Nothing really about this entire matchup really sticks out to me whatsoever. It really doesn't. There's nothing that I could have gone on and could have really come off of this matchup with and recalled from it. Sadly enough, yeah, like there's nothing here. There's nothing. Kind of like the Tiffany Stephanie match. There's nothing for me to go on and recollect because this match was so sloppy and just chucked together. The only thing that I can remember is that the referee goes on and tells Sane to attack Ripley not once but twice. You can hear it where she's like, "Yeah, hit Rhea twice," and I'm like, "Okay, thanks for going on and suspending my disbelief of this show." It honestly feels that probably the referee was controlling this entire match anyways, because I didn't hear any other calls coming from any other referees. Plus, the way that this whole thing was to be just like we would go on to have Asuka and Sane that are tossing out Rhea and Io, I think, early in this matchup in the beginning of it. And because like all four of the people like start out in the match, so at least I can remember that at least. And I was like, okay, that is kind of a smart strategy, but then again, we end up getting to so many interesting things going on with just Io with her suicide dives, and at certain points where we're going on and seeing Rhea, who does her top rope move, but like she's doing it at her opponent's corner, which made no sense to me. I was like, okay, she's doing this move on her opponent's corner. Like, when is someone else going to come in and interrupt what she's doing? But it didn't happen, weirdly. But yeah, but I was just like, this makes no sense. Um, so eventually I'm just kind of pushed into going into who won this matchup because there was nothing really going on of real note in my brain. So let's push on into spoilers. Both Rhea and Io win this match because finally, I guess, they actually needed something to win because they haven't really gone on to win much of anything lately, in my opinion, except for Io winning championships. Plus, also, you kind of needed Ray to win because she's hometown hero. So, yeah. We had Rhea that gone on to have this vest that showed that Aussie flag and what have you. And I'm like, cool. And then she ended up having a boot that said Japan on it. So I'm like, but yeah, so it's good that we were to see such a great showcasing of Rhea. Because she wasn't even on the last PLE. But whatever. Just at least she won. At least we can have that as a feather in our cap in this matchup. But this match was so disappointing. At least Kairi Sane didn't injure anybody, supposedly, because uh, Starks is no longer a wrestler because she was involved in a match with Kairi Sane and she got injured in it. Regardless how it could have been anyone's fault, I think Starks goes on and blames Sane. Anyways, I'm just parroting what someone else was to go on and say there. But anything. Now let's move on to the main event. Main events, main events, main events, main events. So the Seth and Cody matchup, we find that Seth's ugly freaking entrance attire, as well as also his ugly uh, pants, were to go on and have some kind of significance to them, as we would go on to find that like the weird pattern that was to be on his side was to remind us of every single match that he had with Cody. They just looked ugly as F, but okay, whatever. Uh, you know what? They could have gone on and done that in a way more interesting pattern, but no, like the way that just looked was fugly as all F. But anyways, so the Seth and Cody matchup, we have Seth who goes on and he does a cartwheel and he does the Stardust thing, and I'm like, whoo, yeah. Like Seth is kind of bringing fun to his matches, like the AJ Styles CM Punk match where he goes on and he does the skipping all over the ring side, and that of course is the most funny thing about that tag team matchup. But in this match, we have Seth that just does the funny the Stardust thing. We even have Cody Rhodes that goes on an indie match that he goes on and he does this stupid Stardust thing also, where he's just like, where he does the cartwheel and then he does the Stardust thing. He's like, yeah, and he gives the people the finger because he's like, yeah, like Stardust is stupid. Uh, but now I have to go on and say the bad thing. So Seth also goes on and he is to be throwing tantrums within this match. He just goes around the ring and he is to go on and be throwing tantrums, and he's upset with Wade Barrett for some reason. I don't get why or care why. We also had Roman and Reed that they even went outside the match and threw trash cans at one another. But logically, that was kind of also to be so boring that I didn't really think I needed to mention it, but I'm mentioning it here, so here we go. Because there were often times where not a lot of people were going outside of the ring within this entire PLE, except for breaking some tables. Because in the Roman matchup they do the shield power bomb thing. But anyways, so And I was expecting them to just keep going back to the table thing all night because it seemed like they kept teasing that. We have Seth. He comes to the ring and he keeps having to show us on camera this watch that we have to give a about because it had some significance to it because of the tag team matchup that he was in with Cody Rhodes. Evidently, Cody gave him that. Whatever. Like the match that he was in with The Rock and Roman, Seth and Cody. Cody ended up giving Seth the watch from that. Whatever. They kept having to bring that up. That ended up getting a key thing for what ended up transpiring by the end of this matchup. And so, really, for this match specifically, besides the stuff that I've already kind of mentioned, it's just a lot of just like Cody cutters and crossroads. At some point, we would even go on to have Seth that performs the crossroad. Seth at some point does a pedigree. We would go on to even have a top rope crossroad, which just sounded and looked just kind of very vicious because it was so high up. Oh, we have so many Tree of Woe situations going on in this entire PLE. The Io Sky Sane Tree of Woe thing made no effing sense because all Io needed to do was just drop her hands and fall to the ground, and then she could have escaped the Tree of Woe because her feet were not tied to the uh to the ring thing whatsoever. They were just up in the air. It makes her look stupid. Whereas Cody's feet was actually tied and it actually looked a lot better. And what we ended up doing was some weird, bizarre coast to coast thing that Seth did, where he did this like weird shoulder bump coast to coast, which looked really just stupid. Because I'm like, man, someone is going to get injured here, or Seth is probably going to look like he is to have hurt his shoulder, which he ended up doing for the rest of the thing here. Uh, I honestly don't even know why they're doing a coast to coast. Stephen Amell gone on and done the coast to coast move when he did the show Heels and he injured his back and uh and then he was out for a long stretch of time because he broke his back or whatever. He hurt his back for whatever reason to the point where he needed to go to the hospital because of it. And he was in like ridiculous amount of pain. To the point to where he was like, I'm seeing stars over, like yeah, it was really bad. Like it was at pain level 11 or something. But anyways, uh, but Shane McMahon used to do it all the time. But if anything, this is kind of a weird modifying coast to coast. But anyways, so really out of this matchup, uh, it's just a traditional Cody Rhodes Seth match that I think is not as good as other things in the past. Like obviously that cage matchup will not go on and trump what's going on here. So logically, there was a lot more writing on other things in the past that would go on and be much more vicious and better, interestingly to watch. Like of course the match where Cody Rhodes tears his pec and shows up anyways and does the match, like that's gonna trump anything going on here. And how they didn't go on and bring that up at any point in the matchup just befuddles me. Um, but anyways, by the end here we go on and we have Seth who brings in the watch by the end of the match because we had Paul Heyman that goes on to tell both Reed and Bronson that they're not going to interfere in the main event, that they're just going to let things play out the way it does. And Braun ends up asking Reed here, it's like, well, what happens if Cody wins? It doesn't matter if either one of them win. because none of this matters. There's going to be no significance to anything because this match doesn't have anything really writing on this happening or not. But yeah, so Heyman is going on and telling guys, hey, we're not going to go on and be a part of the main event. And I was kind of happy about that because I'm like, great, no shenanigans. But if there isn't shenanigans, there is always shenanigans because Seth cannot win, honestly. And I'm just getting more and more annoyed by watching Seth in matches whatsoever because for how we are to go on and just keep giving this guy wins and things and everything that we could ever go on and give him. I'm just to look at him and just be like, God, like I'm just kind of sick of this all happening. So spoilers for the main event. So we go on and we have Cody who gives the crossroads, and Seth comes in with the watch and hits Cody, knocking him down. We then go on and have Seth who gets onto the pin, win, and then goes on and gets the stupid crown jewel belt that, yeah, looks beautiful. He gets the ring. And after we go on and we have these people win these belts, they have to do these interviews again to milk more time. We, of course, go on and have Stephanie who gives her nice little speech, and Seth goes on and rips the microphone from Kathy Kelly because I guess Seth is like, well, hey, she's not going to steal my moment or share my moment with me. I'm just going to take this mic and I'm going to answer her question for her. So Seth goes on and he does his whole speech, and then we get out of here. So I'm going to try to, as much as I can, to get the F out of here also. I was honestly going on and hoping that I could turn around and do another video for this day anyways. And plus also, I don't know how this video is going to really turn out, but also I kind of need to do a lot more videos that I've been doing lately. Because in all honesty, with how things have just kind of been coming out as far as what things have been just producing, even though they've kind of been lately or late to the game, kind of trickling out some views still. Like I feel I need to just keep pushing myself, even though actually, if I push myself too much, I'm probably going to go on and just burn myself out. But if anyways, kind of after this, or what I was going to plan on doing today was actually to watch a weird movie called Alone in the Dark, which is not the Christian Slater movie. It's the other film. It looked kind of interesting to me, but then again, who knows how that's really going to play out for people that are probably going to care. Because I've been doing some rarefied air as far as some odd choice of movies to be reviewed lately. But that one I was kind of interested about just because it kind of has this chaotic city scene. It has me to be kind of reminded of the film The Crazies, which I think had Timothy Olyphant in one of the movies of remake. But yeah, so I'm hoping to eventually get that out. If that doesn't happen today, because I might have a million things going on, then I will probably go on and try to do that as soon as possible, whenever my next time is, in between my workout schedule and whatever else I have going on. Will hopefully be a thing that I will go on and do soon. But anyways, I'm gonna try as much as I can to just get the heck out of here. I wish these matches were a heck of a lot more interesting. They're not. So, if anything, they should have gone on and given us a triple threat or a fatal four or something to spice these things up. Because it, like, especially with how many matches that John Cena really has left, they should be stacking up who are to actually be within his matches, obviously, to make them more appealing. But regardless, like, we're just kind of keep going in these singles matches. But again, the AJ Styles and John Cena match was the best this year, I feel. So, with that said, I'm going to get the heck out of here. Bye, everybody. Goodbye, everybody. One thing left to mention. We of course have the John Cena AJ Styles match that does go on and do Undertaker moves like choke slams and Tombstone Pile Driver. But we also had the more iconic Sister Abigail move that was to go on and give us the everybody using their cell phones out in the crowd to do the whole Firefly thing, and really enjoyed that moment. That was really just a little nod to Bray Wyatt here. Also, in the Cody versus Seth move, there not only was the figure four move used to signify the Flair Dusty matchup, but then also Cody does the Vertebreaker, which is the Hurricane Shane Helms move. Of course, what's up with that? Uh, that of course they used. I thought the Vertebreaker was actually banned, but I guess it's in some cases to not be banned. Other way, there'd be no reason for them to have gone on to use that move, I guess. But whatever. Other than that, really anything else that I really have left to really talk about for these matches? Yeah, I don't think there's anything really left there in the tank. I'm sure something will probably pop up after I go on and put this video out there and realize, oh yeah, I forgot about 9 other things. But other than that, I think that there is just no more left in the brain noggin for me to talk about. But yeah, so thank you for going on watching this. Hopefully at the end of the day, you will go on and check out Crown Jewel, probably from a VPN and on Netflix, instead of spending X number of dollars in ESPN Plus for whatever reason. But if you decide to do either, then you'll at least go on it and you'll see this. For Netflix, in my opinion, the performance of watching Netflix is just not good looking. A lot of times, like, it's very choppy or it's very blurry. So I'm just like, man, I miss it being on Peacock, because at least Peacock it looked a lot cleaner. Where Netflix it looks so shitty. They'd gone on and stated that they were gonna try and clean this up. If anything, it just looks worse. So yeah, so hopefully they'll fix that at some point because it looks very shoddy. Uh, yeah, but otherwise, I'm gonna get the heck out of here. Bye, everybody. Bye, everybody.